Jason had never expected his life to change so suddenly. Just a week ago, he was living a quiet life in his small apartment in New York City, working as a tech engineer and spending his evenings playing video games. But today, his life had taken a turn that no science fiction movie had ever prepared him for. He opened the door to his apartment and froze. Standing there, awkwardly holding a suitcase that seemed far too small for its contents, was his new roommate. Except this was no ordinary roommate. This was alien. The creature was humanoid in shape with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head, but everything else screamed extraterrestrial. Its skin shimmered in faint shades of blue and silver, and its eyes were larger than human eyes, round and curious. Its fingers were long and slender, tipped with soft pads instead of nails. Jason blinked several times, half wondering if he had finally lost his mind. "Hello," the alien said, its voice melodic but slightly mechanical. "I am Zephyr. I have been assigned to learn human life by cohabitation. You are my guide." Jason cleared his throat. Right. I guess. Welcome to my apartment, Zephyr." Zephyr looked around, tilting its head in curiosity. "This habitat, small, yet sufficient for 2 species?" Jason shrugged. "Yeah, it's a studio. You'll manage." He stepped aside to let the alien enter. "Make yourself at home." "Sort of." As Zephyr placed its suitcase on the floor, Jason noticed the alien carefully observing everything. The couch, the kitchen, the TV, even the tiny potted plant by the window. It moved slowly, deliberately, as if cataloging every detail. "I have studied human culture from records," Zephyr said, "but direct observation is necessary. I must understand your species fully, all aspects of life, behavior, and reproduction." Jason froze. He had expected curiosity, maybe some weird questions, but that, he tried to keep his voice steady. "Well, reproduction is a complicated topic. Maybe we can start with something simpler." Zephyr tilted its head. "Simpler? Explain." Jason gestured around the room. "Like in food and sleep, daily routines, that sort of human stuff." Zephyr's eyes glimmered. Essential processes. Agreed, let us begin." And so the first day of their unusual cohabitation began. Jason started by showing Zephyr how to use basic appliances. The alien had never seen a toaster, a microwave, or a coffee machine. It watched in fascination as Jason prepared a cup of coffee, tilting its head and murmuring words Jason didn't understand. "You consume this bitter liquid daily?" Zephyr asked, raising one delicate finger. Jason laughed nervously. "Yeah, humans need caffeine sometimes. It's a kind of fuel for the brain." Zephyr examined the cup carefully, then gently touched the surface of the coffee with a fingertip. It recoiled slightly. "Interesting. Sensory input. Unusual." Next came food. Jason made a simple sandwich while Zephyr watched. When he offered a small piece, Zephyr sniffed it curiously, then took a careful bite. Its eyes widened. "Flavor. Complex," it said. "Multiple inputs detected. Sweet, salty, soft textures. Combination unusual, but acceptable." Jason smiled. "Glad you like it. Humans are weird, but we have good taste." As the day progressed, Jason realized that living with an alien would be far more complicated than he had imagined. Zephyr wanted to observe everything, from the way humans slept to how they relaxed after work. It had questions for everything, sometimes basic, sometimes startlingly insightful. At one point, Zephyr asked, "Why do humans form bonds with one another? Is it purely biological or cultural?" Jason hesitated. A bit of both, I guess. People bond for survival, companionship, love, and sometimes just because they like someone." Zephyr processed this quietly. "Fascinating. Emotional bonding. Complex algorithm. I must learn." By evening, Jason was exhausted. Zephyr, on the other hand, seemed just as alert as ever. It floated near the window, gazing at the city lights. "Your planet is vibrant, yet your species is fragile. Observation necessary." Jason rubbed his eyes. "Yeah, humans aren't as tough as aliens like you." Zephyr turned to him, eyes bright. "Yet you survive, adapt, innovate. Impressive. Why do you not colonize beyond your planet?" Jason shrugged. "Well, we're trying. But space is hard, expensive, dangerous. And humans, we argue a lot." Zephyr tilted its head again. "Argument. Inefficient. Observation. Your species has potential beyond limitation." "You intrigue me." Jason laughed softly. "Glad to hear that. You're pretty intriguing too, I guess." As the night deepened, Jason prepared for bed. Zephyr followed, curiously observing the human ritual of brushing teeth, changing into pajamas and climbing into bed. Sleeping. Hibernation? Zephyr asked. Jason nodded. Yeah, it helps humans recharge. Our brains and bodies need it. Zephyr made a small sound, almost like a sigh. Fascinating, yet inefficient. Sleep reduces productivity, but I observe it as necessary. Humans are paradoxical, Jason smiled, lying down. You got that right. Before drifting to sleep, Jason noticed Zephyr watching him quietly. The alien seemed thoughtful, almost reverent. It was strange, almost comforting, to see an intelligent being so genuinely curious about human life. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring more questions, more observations, and perhaps more surprises. But for now, he allowed himself a small smile. Living with an alien was going to be interesting. And so the first part of Jason and Zephyr's journey had begun, an unusual roommate situation that promised chaos, learning, and moments where humans, in their simple yet unpredictable ways, would shine brighter than any alien technology. The morning sun slipped through the blinds, painting the small apartment in golden streaks. Jason yawned and stretched, still feeling a little stiff from yesterday's unusual day. Across the room, Zephyr had already risen. The alien was perched near the window, its long fingers tracing patterns in the sunlight as it observed the city below. Good morning, Jason mumbled, rubbing his eyes. Morning, Zephyr replied. Its voice was calm, almost musical. Observation schedule indicates that humans begin daily activity at this time. Jason blinked. Yeah, most of us do. What are you doing up so early? Zephyr turned to him, tilting its head. Observing your species is priority. Learning efficiency is key. You sleep, yet now you are awake. This transition. Fascinating. Jason laughed softly. You mean mornings are hard? You'll get used to it. Zephyr seemed to consider this. Perhaps. But why do humans need morning rituals? What is significance of caffeine, hygiene, and attire? Jason groaned. You really want the full human manual? Zephyr's eyes sparkled. Affirmative. Full understanding required. And so, the first lesson of the day began. Human daily life. Jason showed Zephyr how to make a simple breakfast, eggs and toast. The alien observed carefully, noting each step, cracking the eggs, buttering the toast, flipping the omelet with precision. You heat food on a metal surface, Zephyr stated. Interesting. Energy transfer efficient. Yet risk of error high, Jason grinned. Yeah, humans sometimes burn breakfast. It's a gamble we take. Zephyr raised an eyebrow. Curious. Inefficiency celebrated? Jason shrugged. In a way, we learn from mistakes. Even small ones can teach us something. After breakfast, Jason decided it was time for the human workday lesson. He worked as a software engineer, so he guided Zephyr to his laptop. Humans use these machines to create, communicate, and solve problems, he explained. It's kind of like your tech, but slower and less advanced. Zephyr studied the screen, its fingers hovering over the keyboard. Fascinating. Human neural patterns combine with mechanical devices to enhance output. Efficiency lower than alien technology, yet output sufficient for survival. Observation, adaptability strong. Jason nodded. Exactly. We make up for what we lack in tech with cleverness, creativity, and persistence. Zephyr paused, tilting its head. Persistence. Emotional drive. Interesting. Humans compensate for technological limitation with mental resilience. Jason smiled. You got it. That's kind of the HFY thing about humans. We may not be the strongest or the fastest, but we find ways to survive and adapt. The morning passed with Zephyr asking a flurry of questions, each one more curious than the last. Why do humans form groups? Why do you celebrate events? Why do you wear different colors and styles? Jason laughed. Okay, slow down. We can't cover everything at once. But humans are social. We like to bond, share experiences, and express ourselves. Celebrations make life fun, meaningful. Clothes show personality, culture, sometimes status. Zephyr absorbed this silently, almost reverently. Observation. Humans highly emotional and symbolic. Yet efficiency not primary. Curious inefficiency produces beauty. Jason nodded. Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. Later, Jason took Zephyr outside for a walk in the city. It was Zephyr's first time outside the apartment, and it was enthralled by everything, the sounds of traffic, the variety of smells, the movement of people. Your species thrives in crowds. Energy, high. Observation, humans adapt to unpredictability. Impressive. Jason pointed to a street performer juggling flaming torches. See that? Humans find ways to entertain even in danger. Some are really good at it. Zephyr's eyes widened. Entertainment. Risk balanced with skill. Observation. Humans embrace challenge voluntarily. Strange. Admirable. As they walked, Jason explained human social customs, greetings, personal space, and communication. Zephyr repeated words carefully, trying to mimic tone and inflection. Passers-by stared, some curious, some amused. Why do humans smile so frequently? Zephyr asked. Jason chuckled. Smiles show friendliness.
Happy.
Jason woke to the soft hum of the city outside and the quiet movements of Zephyr in the kitchen. The alien was busy arranging plates in a methodical pattern, muttering something in its melodic voice. Jason stretched and yawned. Another day with his unusual roommate awaited, and he had learned to expect surprises at every turn. Morning, Zephyr, he said. What are you doing so early? Zephyr turned, its large eyes bright. Good morning, Jason. Observation. Humans use creative skills in daily life. I attempt to replicate human methods of organization. Aesthetically, Jason laughed. You're already learning to decorate? That's impressive, and slightly unnecessary. Zephyr tilted its head. Unnecessary. Subjective. Observation. Humans value creativity beyond practicality. I wish to understand fully. After breakfast, Jason decided it was time to introduce Zephyr to something uniquely human, creativity and problem-solving. He pulled out a set of building blocks he had kept from childhood. These are just simple blocks, Jason said, holding a small cube in his hand. Humans use them to build, create, imagine, and solve problems. Zephyr examined the cube with its long, delicate fingers. Observation, simple material, high potential. Instructions unclear. Intention required, Jason smiled. Exactly. That's what makes it fun. There's no right or wrong. You have to think, experiment, and adapt. He handed Zephyr some blocks and began building a small tower. Zephyr watched closely, then slowly started stacking blocks. At first, the alien's approach was precise and logical, perfectly aligned, stable, almost mechanical. But when Jason made a mistake on purpose and the tower wobbled, Zephyr froze, its eyes flickering. Why does your structure fail when you intentionally misalign components? Zephyr asked, a hint of confusion in its melodic voice. Jason shrugged. Humans learn from unpredictability. Mistakes aren't failures, they're lessons. Zephyr paused, then carefully removed a block and replaced it with another in a slightly different way. The tower wobbled again, but Zephyr didn't seem discouraged. Instead, it tilted its head, studying the effects, and adjusted its design. Observation. Humans adapt by trial and error. Creativity enhanced through experimentation. Fascinating. Jason grinned. Exactly. Humans don't just follow rules. We break them, twist them, and sometimes invent something new. After a while, they moved on to a bigger challenge, designing a simple machine using blocks and small pulleys. Zephyr's logical mind initially made it build a perfectly structured device, but it didn't work as intended. Jason encouraged it to experiment, try different combinations, and even fail. Slowly, the alien began to understand. It tried new arrangements, tested different angles, and finally, after several attempts, the machine worked, lifting a small weight with a clever mechanism. Zephyr's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Achievement. Inefficient by alien standards, yet functional. Observation. Creativity in humans is a method of survival and innovation, not just aesthetics. Jason nodded. Yeah, humans solve problems in ways aliens might not expect. That's part of why we survive. We think differently. Zephyr studied him for a moment. Your species? Unpredictable, adaptable, solutions. Inventive. Observation. Humans excel in abstract problem solving. Impressive. After lunch, Jason took Zephyr outside to a local art gallery. The alien had never seen human art before. Paintings, sculptures, and installations. Zephyr moved slowly, examining each piece with meticulous attention, its eyes reflecting curiosity and admiration. Purpose unclear, Zephyr murmured. Materials, shapes, colors, yet emotion conveyed. Observation. Humans encode feelings in abstract forms. Efficient communication. Emotional depth, Jason smiled. Exactly. Humans express what's inside in ways that aren't always logical, but they make sense emotionally. Zephyr lingered in front of a painting of a city at sunset, swirling colors blending into one another. Observation. Beauty emerges from complexity and imperfection. Humans, capable of creating order from chaos while leaving space for interpretation. Jason nodded. That's right. Humans aren't perfect, they embrace imperfection. That's how we innovate, express, and survive. The alien's curiosity didn't end there. It wanted to try creating something itself. Jason handed Zephyr a sketchpad and pencil. Try drawing, he encouraged. It doesn't have to be perfect, just express yourself. Zephyr hesitated but began to sketch. Its lines were careful, almost mechanical at first. But slowly, as it allowed its observation and imagination to mix, the sketches became more fluid, depicting a city, a forest, and even abstract shapes that seemed to move on the page. Jason watched, impressed by the alien's willingness to try something so human. Observation. Humans value creation over perfection. Emotional resonance. Prioritized over technical accuracy. Jason grinned. You're getting it, Zephyr. Creativity isn't about being perfect. It's about expressing ideas, feelings, and imagination. Later, back in the apartment, Zephyr asked about human storytelling. Jason told him a story from his childhood, about a small invention he had made that failed spectacularly but taught him a valuable lesson. Zephyr listened intently, its large eyes wide. Observation, storytelling, conveys knowledge, emotion, and experience simultaneously. Humans ensure lessons persist beyond individual experience. Remarkable. Jason nodded. Exactly. Humans pass knowledge and values through stories. It's part of why we survive as a species. By evening, they turned their attention to music. Jason played a simple song on his guitar, while Zephyr studied the vibrations and patterns. The alien tried to mimic it, producing odd but melodious sounds that made Jason laugh. Observation. Humans create harmony through variation, emotion, and timing. Music, a tool for bonding and emotional expression. Jason smiled. Yeah, humans are messy sometimes, but in the mess we find beauty. As night approached, Zephyr reflected quietly. Observation, human creativity, unpredictable, emotional, adaptive. Humans survive not only through strength or logic, but through imagination, problem-solving, and expression. Your species, remarkable. Jason felt a deep sense of pride. It was strange to hear an alien describe humans in such awe, but it reminded him of something he had always known. Humans were clever, resilient, and endlessly inventive. Before bed, Zephyr carefully organized the blocks and sketchpad. Tomorrow, it said, we continue study of human innovation, collaboration, and adaptation. Observation must extend beyond individual to group dynamics. Jason nodded. Sounds good. Humans are social, so you'll get plenty of lessons in collaboration. And trust me, chaos is part of the lesson. As he lay down to sleep, Jason thought about the journey so far. Living with an alien wasn't just about teaching. It was about rediscovering what made humans extraordinary. Strength, creativity, curiosity, resilience. All these qualities shone brighter when seen through Zephyr's eyes. And Zephyr, for its part, was quietly learning the subtleties of human life, not just the routines, but the heart, the ingenuity, and the moments that made humans capable of surviving, thriving, and surprising even the most advanced species in the galaxy. Another day had ended, but Jason knew that their adventure was only halfway through. More lessons, discoveries, and surprises awaited, and he was ready for all of it. The sun was bright the next morning when Jason woke up. He stretched his arms and looked toward the other side of the room. Zephyr, his alien roommate, was already awake. The alien sat still, staring at a notebook filled with sketches and symbols it had been copying from television shows. Its large eyes blinked slowly, and then it turned to Jason. Jason, Zephyr said, its voice calm and curious. Observation. Humans engage in activity without logic or purpose. Singing, dancing, painting. Why? Jason chuckled and sat up. You mean creativity? It's not useless, Zephyr. It's how humans express feelings and ideas. It helps us think in new ways. Zephyr tilted its head. Feelings, shaping actions. This is inefficient. But observation continues, Jason smiled. He could tell that this was going to be today's lesson. The art challenge, Jason decided to start with something simple. He pulled out some old paints and a few brushes from the closet. He set them on the table in front of Zephyr. "Here," Jason said. "Let's try painting. Humans use colors to show emotions and imagination." Zephyr stared at the supplies. Observation: mixing colors to place them on flat surface. Purpose unclear. Expected outcome: chaos. Not chaos, Jason corrected. Expression. There doesn't always have to be a clear answer. "Just try it." Zephyr hesitated, then picked up a brush. It moved stiffly, dipping it into blue paint and dragging it across the paper in a straight line. The result was neat but plain. Jason laughed softly. "You don't have to be perfect. Just let your mind wander. Try shapes, swirls, anything that comes to you." Zephyr blinked and tried again. This time it painted circles and zigzags. The colors clashed and lines overlapped unevenly. To Zephyr it seemed like failure. To Jason it looked like the start of creativity. "Good," Jason said. "That's better, see? You're making something new. It's not about logic, it's about what you feel while doing it." Zephyr placed the brush down and stared at the messy page. Its eyes glowed faintly as it processed. Observation. Activity produced unpredictable results. Emotional reaction. Confusion, but interest detected, Jason grinned. "That's art, confusing but interesting. Welcome to human creativity." Music in the air later, Jason decided to show Zephyr another side of creativity. He pulled out his old guitar fro. The morning light filtered gently through the blinds, but today Jason felt a sense of finality. After weeks of living together, teaching and observing, he knew that Zephyr's study of human life was reaching its peak. The alien had learned routines, creativity, teamwork, and emotional intelligence. Today, Jason wanted to show the final lesson: how humans combine all these traits to adapt, innovate, and survive in unpredictable situations. "Morning, Zephyr," Jason said, stretching. "Morning," Zephyr replied. Its large eyes gleamed with anticipation. Observation. Today's session focused on full integration of human abilities. "I am ready," Jason nodded. "Good. Let's go on an adventure. A small test, if you will." They walked to a nearby park where a community science fair was underway. Local students had set up experiments, puzzles, and challenges to showcase their inventions and problem-solving skills. Jason explained, "Humans don't just work individually or in teams. They combine creativity, knowledge, and social skills to tackle challenges in real time. Today you'll see all of that together." Zephyr's eyes widened. Observation. Complex integration of cognitive, social, and practical skills. Fascinating. They watched a group of students attempting a complex robot maze challenge. The robot needed guidance, programming, and quick adjustments when obstacles appeared unexpectedly. Jason pointed out, "See that? Humans experiment, fail, and adapt. They combine logic with creativity and teamwork to succeed." Zephyr tilted its head. Observation. Failure is not terminal. Iteration and adaptation essential. Efficiency balanced with learning. Humans, remarkable. Jason smiled. Exactly. Humans are persistent. We try, fail, adjust, and try again. That's why we survive. Next, they visited the puzzle corner. Students had set up mechanical puzzles requiring ingenuity and improvisation. Zephyr immediately started analyzing the problem methodically, arranging pieces with precision. But Jason encouraged it to experiment, make mistakes, and think outside the rules. Slowly, Zephyr realized the value of human improvisation, adjusting strategies in real time, testing new approaches, and finding solutions beyond strict logic. Observation. Humans integrate abstract thinking with practical experimentation. Adaptation and innovation linked to emotional patience and resilience. Efficiency not always optimal, yet success achieved, Jason nodded. That's right. Humans don't always follow the fastest path. They follow the best path for the situation. Creativity and resilience make it possible. After lunch, they attended a small cooperative game organized by the fair. Teams had to build a bridge from simple materials that could support a weight. Jason explained the rules and encouraged Zephyr to work with the human participants. At first, the alien tried to control the process with perfect logic, but soon realized that collaboration and compromise were essential. Zephyr observed gestures, listened to ideas, and even allowed humans to experiment with different designs. Together, the team built a bridge that was strong, functional, and surprisingly elegant. Observation. Collective intelligence amplified through diversity of thought and experience. Humans combine creativity, problem-solving, and social adaptation to exceed individual limitations. Extraordinary. Jason smiled at Zephyr. You see now? Humans aren't just clever. They're clever together, and that's what makes us so resilient. As the afternoon progressed, they wandered through exhibits highlighting human invention and innovation. From simple machines to complex experiments, Zephyr watched as humans applied knowledge, intuition, and creativity to solve problems. It was clear that the alien was absorbing everything, making connections, and comparing human methods with its own species' logic-driven approach. Observation. Humans rely on combination of observation, experimentation, emotion, and social coordination. Integration of traits produces adaptability beyond technological capability alone. Humans, capable of surpassing expectation. Jason laughed softly. You're finally starting to get it. Humans survive because we combine everything, mind, heart, creativity, teamwork, and adapt even when the odds are against us. Zephyr paused, looking thoughtful. Observation. Emotional depth combined with cognitive flexibility enhances survival probability. Humans, unpredictable yet efficient through resilience and cooperation. Conclusion, species extraordinary. Jason felt a surge of pride. Through Zephyr's eyes, he understood just how remarkable humans really were, not just individually but collectively, not just in strength or intelligence, but in creativity, adaptability, emotional resilience, and the ability to overcome any obstacle. Before leaving the fair, they encountered a small child struggling to set up a complicated science experiment. Jason knelt beside the child and helped explain the problem. Zephyr watched closely and then, almost instinctively, stepped forward to offer guidance as well. Together, they guided the child to a solution, blending human patience with alien precision. Observation. Humans nurture, teach, and guide through collaboration. Knowledge transfer ensures survival and growth beyond individual lifespan. Humans, deeply impressive. On the way back to the apartment, Jason reflected on everything they had done together. Zephyr had learned about routines, creativity, teamwork, improvisation, social skills, emotional depth, and the integration of all these qualities in real-time problem-solving. Jason, Zephyr said softly as they reached the apartment, your species is exceptional. Observation confirms. Humans survive, adapt, and innovate not through superior technology or physical prowess alone, but through combination of creativity, resilience, cooperation, and emotional depth. Humans, remarkable. Jason smiled, feeling a mix of pride and wonder. Thanks, Zephyr. That means a lot coming from you. You've learned a lot too. Humans aren't always easy to understand. Zephyr nodded. Observation. Learning requires interaction, experience, and openness. I have adapted and grown through observation and participation. Humans teach through living, not just theory. Valuable lesson received. That night after dinner, Jason sat with Zephyr in the living room. The alien carefully cataloged its final notes, drawing conclusions and diagrams, linking human traits into a cohesive understanding. Jason watched, realizing that this unusual roommate had not just learned about humans, it had come to appreciate them in a way that only a highly intelligent species could. You know, Zephyr, Jason said thoughtfully. Humans aren't perfect. We make mistakes, we argue, we fail sometimes. But in all that imperfection, we find ways to survive and grow. That's what makes us strong. Zephyr's large eyes studied him. Observation. Imperfection combined with resilience, creativity, and cooperation produces superior outcomes. Humans excel not despite limitations, but because of them. Species, extraordinary. Jason leaned back, smiling. I think you finally understand humans. Zephyr nodded slowly. Affirmative. Observation complete. Human life. Fully understood, though complexity remains infinite. Species remarkable, resilient, adaptive. Survival potential, extraordinary. For the first time, Jason saw a faint hint of emotion in Zephyr's face, a subtle acknowledgement of admiration, almost pride. The alien had begun its study intending to observe, but in the process, it had learned respect and wonder for the human spirit. Jason reflected on their journey. The alien had arrived curious, analytical, and unfamiliar with human ways. Over the weeks, he had shown Zephyr everything, from daily routines to creativity, teamwork, problem-solving, and the integration of all these traits. In turn, Zephyr had shown him an alien perspective that made him realize the true value of what it meant to be human. Humans were strong not because of their technology, not because of alien-like abilities, but because of their curiosity, adaptability, creativity, resilience, and capacity to work together. These qualities had allowed humanity to survive, thrive, and grow, sometimes in spite of overwhelming odds. As Jason prepared for bed, he looked at Zephyr and smiled. "Thanks for being a good roommate, Zephyr. I think we've both learned a lot." Zephyr tilted its head, its eyes glowing softly in the dim light. "Affirmative. Observation. Coexistence beneficial. Knowledge gained. Mutual humans. Worthy of admiration." Lesson concluded. And with that, the alien and the human sat in quiet companionship, two species from different worlds, united by curiosity, learning, and respect. Jason realized that in teaching Zephyr, he had rediscovered the extraordinary qualities of humanity itself. Tomorrow, the world would continue its chaos, its challenges, and its triumphs. But for tonight, two beings from different worlds shared a simple truth. Humans were extraordinary, capable of surviving, adapting, and thriving in ways that no one, alien or otherwise, could ignore. And Zephyr, the alien who had arrived as a curious observer, would carry this understanding forward, perhaps to its species, as a testament to the incredible resilience and ingenuity of humans. The journey was complete. The lesson of humanity had been learned, and Jason knew that through Zephyr's eyes, humans were now more extraordinary than ever. The morning sunlight spilled across the small apartment once again, but today Jason felt a new sense of anticipation. Zephyr had asked specifically to learn about human teamwork. The alien had already mastered observation of individual human behavior, daily routines, and even creativity. But Jason knew that human survival, innovation, and success often depended not just on one person, but on how humans worked together. "Good morning," Zepon greeted, still